All right. Sorry about that. We're better now. I promise. I hope. Um, yep. Okay. So yeah, this is I don't even know where I started. So welcome to the show. uh, right. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna go back later after the stream and then like add the actual stuff. If you guys want to support us, actually screw donations. Not right now. Um, but if you do want to support us and donate, it won't do the pop-up thingies. You can just go on to ndforfreedom.org or ndforfreedom.com, whichever one you decide to go to. If you scroll down all the way on the bottom, there's a donate button, and you can donate. Unfortunately, it's not going to pop up on screen. I don't think anybody cared about it popping up on screen in the first place. So, yeah, there's that. Um, I swear this isn't going to happen again, I hope. Um, we're a constitutional position. Wow, can't even talk. This is great. We are a constitutional position petition. Constitutional petition. That's what we are. We're not a position. Um, circulating in North Dakota that, if passed, would allow anybody over the age of 21 to possess, grow, and consume cannabis. Businesses that would be selling cannabis would need to get approval from their local municipality, so like the city. And if you agree and would like to support the cause, you can reach out to us on Facebook at the page ND for Free Cannabis Act. Also, going to try this. This is going to be the real test if this stream continues. You can go on the petitioner locator. Hey, it does work. Okay, good. So the petitioner locator is on the page. So ndforfreedom.com, ndforfreedom.org, whichever one. And it will list out all the businesses and people that have petitions that you can sign with. You can only sign once, but if you also just want a listing, you can just go down here. I'm going to make it a thing that we're going to show off one of the businesses. Studio 40 Tattoo in Jamestown is a petition locator or a petition area. This is their logo. You can also give them a call if you want to give them a call beforehand to make sure that they also have enough room in their petition. It's 115 4th Avenue Southeast in Jamestown. And you can give them a call, or you can stop by there and sign the petition. I'm sure that they have space on their petition since they started being a petitioner, I'd say, last month. So feel free to reach out, sign the petition. Another business, I'll just point out another one, Pipe Hype in Bismarck is also another one that's off 515 East Main Avenue. The best prices and highest quality in town, unmatched service, and a wide variety that is to ensure your jaw dropped. I don't know. Their advertising about that. So if you guys want to support any of the businesses, support local as well. Most of the businesses, actually all of them, are local businesses. So support your local businesses as well as sign the petition. You don't have to buy anything, no purchase necessary, but if you're stopping by to pick up a new pipe, feel free to purchase it in the place that you sign. So if you like this kind of a show with less problems, like less technical glitches, on KRFF in Fargo, Radio Free Fargo, on 95.9 on Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. with Greg Wilson, we have Canna Talk ND. It will be also uploaded to YouTube pretty quickly afterwards. The one that happened this last Thursday will be up, I want to say, probably tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, like after I post the first one, it's going to be like super quick, like literally the next day. So if you like this kind of a show, feel free to listen online or if you're in Fargo on your radio. They have more local stuff. Last week they had a thing with Gail Peterson. She talked about CBD and how it affects, like as far as like with autism, or what you should be looking at when you do purchase CBD. It's not, believe it or not, and I learned this actually a couple months ago. Did you know, Anthony, that there is a multi-level marketing scheme for CBD? Blue Moon is a MLM. I didn't know that. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying products from an MLM. However, the you kind of have to understand that the people that you're purchasing from are usually victims of a scam. I'm not saying Blue Moon is a scam. I'm just saying the term multi-level marketing is known as a scam slash pyramid scheme because of the structure of the business is a pyramid. So yeah. uh, so we're just gonna main topic headline there that was in the last stream and is in this stream. There's a petition, or there's not a petition yet, but there's a cannabis activist group called Legalize ND. I'm just going to call them an activist group right now until they actually submit something. And they do have a radio show. I believe it's on Tuesdays or something like that. I don't know the specifics, but I do know it's on the same radio station as ours. And you know the quality aside, like the quality of their audio when it comes to, I really hope that that's not what's on the radio, but as far as the recording that they put up on YouTube is kind of crap. So I'm gonna warn you on that one. But their first episode, I was like, okay, they're just talking about legislation and all the different characters that are in a bunch of different legislations that have to do with cannabis, because legalization or recrealization isn't the only legislation kind of going on as far as cannabis goes. There's a lot of medicinal stuff going on as well. Because North Dakota's a medicinal state as well. I'm pretty sure everybody knew that. But they said some kind of iffy things. Certain things that just kind of either gave me like a what? Or a what the fuck are you saying and why are you saying this? And before we go into it, I'm going to just throw this little disclaimer out. Copyright law does state that I can use a copyrighted material as long as it's transformative in nature. My plan for this transformative nature is to commentate over it. If you do copy strike me, we got a different subject to talk about. Just gonna throw that one out there. So there was a couple of statements that just kind of just made me go, huh? Um, so they're talking about the decriminalization bill that came out. I'd say, what was it, 3, 4 months ago? Um, yeah, so it kind of got swept under the rug. It was kind of signed hush hush. There was a bunch of other things that got signed at the same time, and then there was this decrim bill that got passed through that the governor had signed. It wasn't even said in a press release. There was nothing was really said. Um, so the content of it was pretty weird. It's a decrim bill, but it's not. But they decided to give a good an example. I wouldn't say good at all. It wasn't a good example at all. So let's listen to this wonderful example here.
Right, so let's carry on. We're going down the road. We have the bag in the car with
Okay.
us. There's two of
Here we
us
go.
in there.
And
Ready?
we've got, let's
All right.
say, a 30-second of
I
announce.
know what's wrong.
Sure.
Okay.
Just to keep us under the
Oh, what?
rules.
Oh, it was playing.
Sure. And
Aspects of this.
And I
That
can't
in
hear
the
it.
eyes of responsible for anything in the vehicle.
That's a problem. One more second. I swear. Alright, now I should be able to hear it. Alright. The next episode, by the way, will not have so many problems, I swear. I promised you. I know I've been promising it the last 6 episodes, but this one definitely won't. I promise. Oh. Apparently this one just didn't want to do what it wanted to do. Okay. Better now. Alright. Here we go. Alright. For the
I didn't
gusto
know.
here.
It would basically have to be a rideshare exclusive or business exclusive vehicle.
Right. So
They're talking about, like, if there's, if you get pulled over and there's cannabis in your vehicle and you're a rideshare, you can possibly get some protection if it was, like, a customer that left it there. That wasn't really what I found odd, but this is where it starts.
let's carry on. We're going down the road. We have the bag in the car with us. There's 2 of us in there.
And we've got, let's say, a 30-second of an ounce.
Sure.
Just to keep us under the rules.
Sure.
I had to Google this because I've never heard anybody explain a amount that they purchased or they possessed as a 32nd of an ounce. It is 0.8 grams, not even a gram.
And the police officer pulls us over.
Uh-oh.
So we have people
Here we go.
discussing
He just
cannabis that have no idea.
That was one of the
About
first
cannabis.
signs.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That was when I was like, did you at one point in your life talk to your dealer and was like, hey, I'd like to buy a 32nd? Who? What? Okay.
decides in his infinite wisdom that he wants to search the car because he knows who Dave is and he knows who Steve Peterson is.
Yeah, keep.
Or they pulled you over and they smelled marijuana.
Which in some states that's becoming inadmissible.
Yes, and the thing is the right to search is usually, yeah, like the smell of cannabis, seeing cannabis. It's never, hey, I don't like this guy, I'm gonna search his vehicle. There's got to be more proof to search somebody's vehicle than I don't like this guy. That doesn't happen. That, if it does happen, that's a problem with the police department. And if you do know of police departments that do that, you should definitely be talking to a lawyer. But let's keep going.
Keep your hands on the dashboard, people.
He finds the bag.
Yep.
He can now charge us with distribution, and intent to deliver, and manufacture.
Distribution, intent to deliver, and manufacture with 0.8 of a gram. I get that you're trying to follow the exact letter of the law and that it wasn't specified in the decrim bill, but this has never happened in the history of North Dakota, in the history of any country, or any state, actually, in the United States. This is not something that happens regularly. If it does happen, it usually gets cleared up very quickly, because distribution, manufacture, so the manufacture part, unless you have a plant in your back seat that only has 0.8 of a gram, they need to find more proof that you are manufacturing cannabis. Now, in order to do that, you have to have probable cause to possibly search another premises, such as your house. Finding a bag is not probable cause that there is more cannabis that this person is connected to. I don't know how clear I can say that. If you ended up getting charged with these 3 things, more than likely the state's attorney or the city's attorney, depending on who's dealing with that case, will more than likely be pleading you down to a different charge, such as possession, because there's no other evidence, and it would be overcharging somebody for distribution, manufacture, especially the manufacturer, and the intent to deliver. They can search your cell phone, for instance. If you allow them to search your cell phone, they can search your cell phone, and if you have a bunch of texts of, hey, I'll drop off this 0.8, or hey, I'll drop off, a bag to you, or whatever, there's obvious text messages of sales going on, then yes, they do have enough evidence at that point to charge you with, distribution or intent to deliver. Now, the two are 2 different things. A distribution is usually a small amount. Intent to deliver is usually a large amount. Like you are dropping off a kilo. You're not dropping off zero point 0.8 of an ounce or zero point 0.8 of a gram. So just want to make sure that that is crystal clear. There's a little bit more that they continue to say, and this part kind of told me that the part that they have never been through the criminal system, and that is not a bad thing by any means whatsoever. Anybody who's been through the criminal system would never wish this on anybody. It's especially when it has to do with cannabis. It's a very dehumanizing. It is a very embarrassing situation to go through, and it does ruin your life. There's a lot of things that happen if you do end up getting charged and actually plead out to being guilty of a charge. It can mess up a lot of things, and it is not a very good time. I don't think anybody who's been through the criminal system would ever wish that upon anybody. But there is a lot of evidence that they can be receiving from other people, talking to other people, and having a little bit of know-how about the legal system, and they might actually be able to come up with a good enough explanation, and this isn't it, guys. This is not it at all. This is a shot and a miss. A very, very shot and a miss. So we go on to this part, which gives me more proof that, or evidence that I don't think they've ever been charged, and that's not bad. But you shouldn't be talking about stuff without any knowledge about what you're talking about.
They say, no, I can't say they're
But
slow.
even that isn't a great. That's not great advice, to be honest with you. In a state where it's criminal, don't do what they say. Don't be rude. Be nice. Be cooperative with the officer.
Always.
The best thing you can do is act normal and not try to get all preachy and hyper defensive.
No.
So, I'm not a lawyer. I will never give any legal advice to anybody. I will tell you what other people and other lawyers have told me. This isn't it.
Common sense says that everything that he said was just an absolute reach.
Yeah, so...
I mean, like, that's nothing short of just trying to keep people scared. That's ridiculous to say. Like, if you have not even a gram, 0.8, like, come on, not even a gram, you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna get arrested. More than likely, I can't say gonna, but it's insinuating that more than likely you're gonna get nailed to the wall for having less than a gram of cannabis. That's just absurd.
Yeah. And when it comes to an interaction with a police officer, obviously be respectful to the officer. Like, don't start cussing him out. He's just doing his job. I get that. But a lot of cases and a lot of everything that a police... So when an officer approaches you and speaks to you, they aren't the judge. They aren't the person who would make any kind of decision of how long you go to jail, anything like that. Their main job, their main duty is to protect the safety of the public, and as well as for the people who are breaking social norms, whatever, those people, they try to get them with charges or anything like that. Their job, and this is in a very respectful manner, is to make a note of the actions of the person that they are talking to, usually in the form of a charge. Their main duty is to make that notation of that person. The charge is that note. Their main thing that they want to do in any situation that they feel is unsafe to the general public is to make that charge. In those
whether
things,
it sticks or not, that's up to the court.
Exactly. And the thing that really annoys me is a lot of people, the first time they've ever been through the criminal system, this was my first time. I said everything. They were like, "We know everything. Just tell us. It'll be okay." And I just would confess to the crime completely. Yep, you got me. And I go into details of like, how I was selling and stuff like that. They want to. You have rights. You are innocent until proven guilty, even though that really doesn't relate to court sometimes. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have civil liberties and civil rights, and those rights are usually trampled upon by officers, and in the duty of investigation, they usually try to get you to give up those rights. One of the things that they did to me the first time I went through was, hey, look, we have to tell you this. This is just this is just a formality. Don't worry, don't freak out, but everything you say and can do, it will be used against you in the court of law. That sentence, anything you say and do, can and will be used against you in the court of law. Will is the very big term there. Will be used against you. Not may, not might, will. Everything you tell an officer will be used against you in the court of law. So, when you hear those words, the next word that should come out of your mouth is lawyer. Not
Okay.
cooperate. Go ahead. Sorry,
Don't say anything. Okay? If any words come out of your mouth, I don't care what anybody else on YouTube, especially somebody who's a little over opinionated, you say nothing. The right to remain silent. That's it. That means be silent. If you say anything, it's I don't answer questions. That's it.
Yes.
You say nothing because anything that you say or do can and will be used against you in the court.
So, I understand, be respectful to the officer. Don't, like I said, don't start cussing him out. He's just doing his job. I get that. But cooperate? No. Don't cooperate in incriminating
You don't
yourself. Yes.
In the wise words of a couple pretty famous lawyers on Facebook, shut the fuck up. That's all you do.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yeah.
If they have enough to charge you, they're going to no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it from that point.
Right.
Don't dig yourself a hole. Don't make it any worse than it is. Just shut up. That's it.
So, in this part, that was the first part of the very bad advice. Then he goes on to take a shot at public defenders.
Because if you start saying, I'm not here to discuss my day, this, that, and the other thing, the officer is now immediately aware that this is not normal behavior and you're hiding something.
Right.
And when you're hiding something, that almost creates the probable cause that's the problem itself.
Well,
So
and that's the reason why, like, sovereign citizens get shaken down so hard when they get pulled over, because they go immediately into that script, and the officer's like, oh, there goes my normal day.
Yep. And in North Dakota especially, we have a Fourth Amendment problem. This was broken by on-again, off-again supporter of legalization, Rob Port, and he discussed how when you get a good attorney, you almost always win on Fourth Amendment grounds, but when you get a bad attorney, you almost never win on Fourth Amendment grounds.
Right. Well, and some of the attorneys don't even know how to properly use the discovery process of the courts to be able to see what was incident to that arrest. I mean, there's a lot of paperwork report, and now these days video that you can pull. Smart attorneys want to know everything that's going on the other side of the coin before they start doing things. So they have to know how to do discovery.
Vogel will protect you.
So, shameless plug to Vogel that he just does throughout the entire freaking thing. But, lawyers, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So lawyers will use the discovery process, but the thing is what discovery is basically you get charged, you have your first appearance, you plead not guilty in those usually, and then you get rescheduled for a hearing, and in that process, right after that time, you then file discovery where they give you all the evidence that they have on you, and then you have to give them all the evidence that you have on them. This is when you actually figure out what happened. You know, if it's a snitch case, for instance, this is when you find out that there was a snitch involved, stuff like that. Um, it's a very it's a legal thing, and it does get confusing, but usually discovery is most likely going to be in the form of a letter saying we're requesting discovery. And then usually that hearing, if they have an issue, like if you get the discovery back and they don't have all the evidence, or that you feel like they didn't give you all the evidence, for instance, in a snitch case, they just say confidential informant, you technically have the right to contest that discovery and actually get the name of the snitch. It's almost never a good idea because that's when, you know, pressure gets really pushed on it. But like if you're in, this was like my last case, like if you're in a situation where like, no, like there's obviously some problems with this snitch. We need to know who it is. I need confirmation because I knew who it was. I need confirmation to know who it is, because if it is that person, then we need to talk about something else. So things like that. That's usually the discovery thing. And what he's saying is they don't know how to send a letter. You're trying to tell me that a lawyer doesn't know how to send a letter? Um, it wasn't in this part because I'm not going to play the 3 more minutes that this goes on for. He then says that, you know, your public defender, if you have a public defender, you're pretty much screwed. In the entire state of, or not state, but in the United States, if you are going to be a licensed lawyer in the entire country, and in states, most states, like almost every single one of them, I don't know exactly if there's some that don't have it, so that's why I'm saying almost every single one of them. I know North Dakota is one, Minnesota is another. In order to be licensed by the bar, you have to do X amount of work as a public defender or as pro bono. You have to do free work if you want to be a lawyer. If you want to be a licensed barred lawyer, you have to do X amount of hours. I don't know what the number is in the state of North Dakota, but you have to do an X amount of hours. So the public defender that you get in a public defender situation, like if you can afford one, you can't get one, but usually you can. Anyway, the lawyer that you get is an actual lawyer. Some lawyers are just only public defenders and they get paid through the state. That's usually their first like couple years, and they're just trying to get their foot in the door and get connections and talk to people, because that's basically all court is wheeling and dealing between lawyers. That's almost all what it is. Like your actual interaction with a judge until trial means almost nothing. Everything is done not in court. Almost everything is done, like you're sending letters, you're sending emails, you're talking to the prosecutor, you're coming up with deals, and that's usually how it goes. You will usually plead out and usually plead down one step. So like if it's a controlled substance third degree, it'll drop you down to a fourth degree, and that's how they'll get you, just to get you to say yes, because if you go to trial, it's bad. The prosecutor then is gambling, and so is the defense. So that gambling situation is usually what they try to get away from. So yeah. Also, my frames per second just dropped to like 12. So I'm sorry if it's choppy. I don't see any. Oh, hey, we're dropping frames like it's fucking hot butter. I swear, my
That was good.
it's bad. I'm sending to the server at 60 frames per second, so I think Facebook's having some technical difficulties. I'm definitely not uploading at the rate that I want to be uploading at. I'm sending out at... Oh, I'm topping out sending out. What am I doing? What? Oh boy. Yeah, 12 megabits. Anyway, we're just gonna... I can hear my girlfriend laughing to the hot butter comment. So, yeah, there's a little bit more. I'm just gonna jump to like 2 more. I'm almost done, I promise. I was not expecting this to be a hour of bashing this podcast. Trust me, if you guys want to like dish it back out, go right ahead. Here's one. My technical problems are always my own fault. Um, so there's
This never gets old.
um, so this one is funny. We're done with the serious stuff. This is another funny one. Um, let's see, 47. Oh, okay. I guess we're just gonna end it now on this part. I swear. All right, here we go. Um, yeah, we'll just go for that. Yeah, these are gonna be the last two. So.
Law out so that you know that we're addressing all the different parts of that. So when people give you a hard time about the length, they need to understand it's not like it's just one law, one line in the state law that we have to change.
I wish it was.
Yeah, me too.
Measure 3 made it that way, but Measure 3 did it in a way that people didn't like, which was just said everything that's not covered here, scratched, which was the way of consolidating Century Code, but no one wanted it that way. The problem is people want it both ways. They want it spelled out for them, but they also want it to be short.
Right.
You can't do both. If I've got to mess with 50 pages of law, it's going to be...
The problem with that is it was like there wasn't that much like when Measure 3 failed, I was pretty vocal. I pretty much laid in the weeds until it failed, and I'm a terrible person for that. I'm gonna completely admit that. I said some stupid shit, and I still stand by some of it, but a lot of it I just kind of didn't understand the the environment. Um, that's going to be the nicest way I say that. Um, so really, the biggest thing is first of all, the constitutional angle to it is why it's short and sweet and to the point. We do. I mean, I don't know if anybody else in the group knows anything about like tax law or stuff like that. We don't. I don't. Um, I don't really know anybody who does know tax law. Um, so stuff like that, like we're not going to pretend to be. We're basically not going to be the jack of all trades and master of none. And one of the things that a lot of the issues that some people have had with for instance, the Measure 3, it was short and sweet and to the point, but there was also some things that they had mentioned and stated in that measure that wouldn't have made sense. I don't know the specifics of it, but like from reading, like as far as what, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious who we're talking about. Legalize ND here. Reading from what they have said in the latest copy that they have posted, there's some parts where I'm like, I feel like you came in here with good intentions, and then throughout that entire good intention and good plan here, your mind has been changed, and usually it will probably result in receiving large sums of money, and it's pretty evident. It's very evident. Um, I mean, stuff like this does cost money. Like, we spend a lot. It's usually just like the people who want to help end up spending sums of money that they could probably be spending on other things that they would like to spend on. Like, for instance, for me, like I've spent a decent amount of money just for the tech stuff. Same thing with Anthony here. Like, we're both tech team type people, so like that's what we do. We donate willingly because we believe in the cause. The thing is nothing that we donate to has any strings attached. If like we don't believe in something, we don't agree with something, obviously we're gonna say our point and we're gonna make it evident that this is not something that we like agree with, but it's not my way or the highway with anything that we donate. Whereas if it's a large business, for instance, oh, not a business, let's call it a nonprofit, normal. or marijuana policy project, there's strings that are attached there that are a take it or leave it type of situation. You say no to it, you don't get that money. And that fundraising style is a different fundraising style than us. We will never take out of state for sure. Like, out of state donations are not going to happen ever. Even like with our like website and stuff like that, if we see that it's from out of state, we instantly refund it. Like, so if you are from like South Dakota or Florida or California or something like that, it's refunded like usually within the hour. Whether
If you're not willing to if you're not willing to take the time to explain to us you live here, but your financial institution was listed for a different state or a previous state that you lived, unless you're willing to explain it, it gets refunded.
Yeah, like usually within an hour. Like, I get that email and it's the first thing I'm doing is making sure that they're in the state of North Dakota. Receiving money from outside influence can be fine, but when you do that, you are very evidently taking in persuasion from outside sources that you do not know their intention for that persuasion. They self-grow is pretty much what I'm talking about. Like, you got these watchdogs type of groups, trying to be watchdogs, but you don't know who they're watching. They could be watching large organizations and large businesses, corporations that grow large sums of cannabis, for instance. They're obviously not going to be okay with self-grow. That was the South Park episode that we had talked about earlier. Stuff like that. Like, you have basically taken the issues of modern warfare. I was just literally about to play a game. You've taken the issues of Measure 3, and you've been on one side with there wasn't enough information, and then you jumped on the other side where there's too much information, and those too much information is exposing the issue. And the issue is there's very evident outside persuasion that go into this bill. If you looked at it, it's been through legislative council multiple times. In the legislative council, 14%. I swear, I really hope that this is recorded on one side. I'm red on. I don't think Caster's having a fun time right now. I really hope that I can at least pull the recording and re-upload it. But anyway, I'm sorry to the people if it's choppy. I can't really do anything about it right now. It's on Facebook at 30 frames per second, so that's, I guess, doing well. But you've jumped on the complete opposite end here. It's been through legislative council multiple times. It's very evident, and it's also evident in multiple contradictions, almost sentence for sentence. One sentence saying one thing, and then literally quarter of a page down, the complete other. I mean, you guys are going to vote on it, so I really hope that those are decisions that you take into perspective. But I'm almost done with my rant. This is not going to be a common occurrence, by the way. It's just when I heard that giving that kind of advice, cooperate with the officers type of thing, I got mad. So
No, I would, as I said, I'm a huge advocate of say nothing. If any words come out of your mouth, that's it. I don't answer questions. Nothing more, nothing less. I've been pulled over, and it's license and registration, blah, 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 whatever, right there. The second I start getting where are you headed, talking about our day, things like that, I don't answer questions, and I don't wish to speak about my day.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah. So, this is the last part, yeah, we're gonna talk about this one.
Comma, in a sentence, makes all the difference in the world. The difference between the words shall, will, and may makes all the difference in the world of a law. And it's not an easy lift to be able to get all of the verbiage properly stated in the law that doesn't have unintended bad consequences.
So let's give people a funny example of that. You remember the bus, right, in the United Kingdom, where they claimed they were going to cut poverty in half?
Oh, okay. Sounds like a great dream there. Pipe dream. Go on.
Well, what they did is they put the comma in the wrong spot.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. What did they do?
I shared that over on my Facebook feed. We are going to cut homeless people in half.
Yeah, it said we are going to
Really?
cut homeless. In the United Kingdom, we have launched a new initiative to cut homelessness, comma, in half.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Oh, my gosh. They said that they're going to cut homeless people in half. Oh, no.
Oh god.
I really hope that wasn't real. Huh. Miscaptioned? What could that possibly mean? Huh. So what actually ended up happening, and this is the actual truth of the story, like, let's drop the act here. So there was this plan that they had planned, the Conservatives had planned, I guess, and a artist had picked it up and decided to run uh, some ads. And one of the ads is, like, misspelling or mispronunciation, and they had run multiple different ads kind of making fun of the plan. They weren't, I guess, for how the plan worked or something like that. But yeah, so they had taken out a couple of ads, and one of the ads was, "We plan to cut all homeless people in half by 2025." This was actually done by a artist, and they were just kind of expressing that was their, like, way of expressing their anger towards it. Another one was, "Our aim is to erase all disabled people by December 2020." Um, like, this is obviously a joke. Uh, yeah, I don't know. That one seems a little English to me. That joke kind of just didn't land right with me. But yeah, that was that. Obviously, like, again, this was just commentary on stuff that, I had listened, and I was just like, what? So this was more of trying to be funny, but at the same time, there was some pretty serious issues, and I just wanted to make sure it was known, by this very, very small view count video, because this is the best platform I got. So we'll do a couple more stories, and we'll probably call it a night. I don't even. Yeah. This is probably. Yeah. This one we definitely have to do. So go ahead.
So, there is a possible shortage of medical cannabis in North Dakota. Shocker. Nobody saw that coming.
Now, to put this into perspective, the medicinal marijuana bill only states that there can be 2 facilities growing, or doesn't only state it, but basically says that only 2 facilities to service the entire state of North Dakota.
And they can each only have 1,000 plants.
Yeah, and I don't think that they planned to have as many patients as they did.
Actually, on the contrary, they're projecting, I want to say it was like 4,000 by 2021. But still, when you're looking at it, currently we have 1,000. As of yesterday, we have 1,716 people.
And by the way, shout out to Chris Nolden. Honestly, this story probably wouldn't have gotten enough traction for any news organization to have picked it up. In the state of North Dakota, there isn't that many of them in the first place, and to have on top of it the fact that something like this would kind of hurt the whole prohibitionists view, and maybe some organizations have a more prohibitionist view. Um, I can name a couple, but I'm not going to. Uh, I'm gonna pull a. Okay, never mind. So he's the one who contacted news organizations, gave quotes. He did a really good job. So shout out to him. Um, so yeah, one thing, I don't know if you got annoyed by this one sentence. Um, let's see here. Yeah, if dispensaries were having certain shortages, I would say that could be some growing pains on the dispensaries side.
Oh God, yes.
Uh, so in October 1st, there was a little bit more stringent compliance testing, and that kind of played a role in the shortage. But this is my favorite one. Dispensaries were notified of this. They were given ample time to order accordingly. From our perspective, they probably did not take the appropriate action that they needed to ensure that they got through that window when we weren't allowed to make transports. What you're trying to say is, you should have learned alchemy and got blood out of a stone. It's not the receiver's fault. But that's what you're saying, that the inventory was depleted, but it's the receiver's fault for depleting that inventory.
Yeah. Their inability to supply is basically the patient's problem. We need it, therefore you're wrong.
Yeah.
These are the people that are in charge. Like, nobody sees what's wrong with this.
And so Wall, I want to see what his official title was. Basically, he's Department of Health, like the cannabis area of the Department of Health. Yeah, Department of Health Medical Marijuana Division. The guy that's advocating for the medical marijuana uses of the state for medical patients is basically being. There's this one meme. I was gonna make a meme, but I don't make memes anymore. What's his name? I forgot the name. He has a popular show too. Eric Eric Andre, where Eric Andre is shooting somebody um on a couch and being like, "Why'd you do that?" That's basically this situation. Put medicinal patient on couch, Eric Andre or somebody shooting and being like, "Why'd you do that?" Like literally, this guy is in a position that is actually making these rules and legislations and the controls and the systems for it, and at the same time, like I can't say I can do any better, but what I'm saying is like maybe not fully qualified for the position. Then again, I don't know who would be.
Is where it becomes everybody's problem and everybody's fault other than the government. Is I also noted that they can manufacture up to 1,000 plants, like per facility. Actually, I don't even know if that's per facility or per company. I need to look into that.
2 manufacturing facilities can grow up to 1,000 marijuana plants each. So 2,000 marijuana plants can be grown in the state of North Dakota.
And no, they can grow more, but there's a big asterisk there. A bill passed during recent legislative session allows facility to grow over that allotment by paying $10,000 for every 500 additional plants.
So
$10,000. Like, how is that even sustainable?
yeah, so let's see here. Average. Let's see. Average amount per cannabis plant. It's like 2 to 4 inches. Okay, how much can per plant? Um, Again, obviously, there's a lot more to this math than just that. But for instance, 1 gram. Um, so a 400 watt grow light can potentially translate to 400 grams or 14 ounces of dried edible usable cannabis. So let's just put this into perspective. Let's make it easy. 600 watts. I think that's actually, from what I have understood, the very, very little that I know. So let's go um, 600 grams. So what's that in ounces? Um, okay, well, we'll go with $15 a gram because I'm not gonna. Yeah, $15 a gram. One plant, 600 watt, 600 watt plant or 600 watt light. So let's say 600 grams in the very, very possible. I doubt that that would be even a thing. Per 500. So five. Okay, let's make the math show up here. uh, let's just keep that one up. Okay, so here I did 600 grams per plant. You got 500 plants of the 600 watt. Your power bill is insane. You can create $300,000 or 300,000 grams for that $10,000 fee. And you're selling it at $15 a gram. So you're making $4.5 million of product. Now, you haven't put in light costs. Like I said, 600 watts is a lot of electricity times 500. You're using 300,000 watts. So you're using a lot of electricity. You're using a lot of fertilizer, a lot of water. Let's say that half of what you produce is basically out the window the minute that you produce it because you've already had to pay the bills. So let's divide that in half. So you got, whoa, I just messed it up. Okay, 45. This is math time with Phil, by the way. Let's just name it what it is. Okay, math time with Phil. Okay, so you at the end of the day, after paying for the electricity, after paying for the water, after paying for the property, the taxes on the actual grow, 2.2. Let's just round it down. $2.2 million is what you would have from that extra 500 plants. Now you got to figure out transportation. You got to figure out who you're going to sell it to, how you're going to get it there, all that stuff. That's a lot of plants. So let's say another quarter. So of that half, you got to pay another quarter of it. So divide that in 4. So you got $562,000. This is how much you would have spent. So let's again, math time with Phil is really, really bad math. So you got $1.6 million of product is what you would have. Now you have to pay a $10,000 fee for every 500 additional plants. So we can subtract out $10,000. In this case, we'd be adding $10,000. So you would end up netting 1.6 mil from the extra plants. But the thing is you're also having to pay for the other 1,000 plants that you have as well. So I'm guessing your profit in this case would probably be under a mil. This is very, very like bad math, but yeah, like yes, you can pay a $10,000 fee for an extra 500 plants. But the thing is you're basically saying that there's a bill that got passed for the people who you've basically admitted that at this point that the amount of production of these plants is not coming out to the amount of people who need the medicine. So instead you're going to what, kneecap them another 10 grand on top of the fact that I'm sure in order to get a license you got to pay. Did my math make sense at all? I don't either. So that number, just definitely don't take it to the grave. But I'm just saying, you've set up this limit. You've obviously needed to go over that limit. So why don't you just change the limit? and not start kneecapping businesses for expanding, especially when you only have two of those businesses. If they didn't want, okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. If I'm pretty sure if they didn't want that $10,000 fee, they can just back out. I mean, they'd lose a lot of money and they'd probably have a lot of issues, but it would change things pretty quick, very quick. I'm just gonna preface this. When it comes to commercial cannabis businesses, it's a business. Yes, obviously they're making medicine and they're helping the the patients, but they're also trying to get money.
Well, they need to.
Yeah, they need to continue, so they need the money. But like as far as the, and I'm sure I'm probably getting blown the fuck up in chat. Actually, nothing is showing up in chat, but I'm sure I'm pissing a lot of people off when I say this. But like, let's let's call it what it is: a grow operation for for a medicinal place for patients. They're not in it for just to help the patient. Yeah, that's one of the things that they probably started off, but then they realized how much money they're making. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, though. Is a business is a business, and it has to be sustainable.
Is it inherently wrong? That's actually a really good question. Is it inherently wrong, like with that math? If, like I said, this math probably is junk, complete junk. I'm 100% sure of that. I'll be the first to admit it, but just rudimentary math. Like if they had to pay that $10,000 fee and they make $1.6 million out of it, or they make $600,000 actually is what we called it at the end of the day. If they made $600,000 for paying that $10,000 fee for the 500 extra plants, are they morally wrong?
Okay, I don't understand what morals become in play there. If you're choosing to spend the 10,000,
Good point.
like there's nothing really morally, like there's nothing really wrong with that morally.
No, but it's
It's
almost,
completely a business choice.
yes, but it's almost as if that they are pretty much forced. Like,
Is it morally wrong on the state? Is
yeah,
that what you?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that is wrong, and it's not just because I'm pro cannabis or whatever, but where where do you come up with these numbers? How do you determine that 500 extra plants should cost you, as the person trying to sustain your business, an extra $10,000 in one hit? I mean, that's like the application process. In the beginning, wasn't that outrageously expensive, or still is?
I'm sure. Let's see here. North Dakota.
And it's like it goes to show that the state goes out of its way to make it either too expensive or too complicated to have anything to do with cannabis, when really the people voted for medical cannabis
I
for
mean,
like their well-being, like their purpose, not the government's ability to leech off of it or make it complicated or convoluted.
okay, so the medicinal law, um, you're not allowed to grow more than 1,000 plants with that $10,000 extra rider for the 500. And you may not keep more than 3,500 ounces of usable marijuana, regardless of whether it's growing, dried, cured, or stored. So now you're playing in the whole. You got some flowering plants, you got some vegetative plants, like you're probably cycling them. So on top of the $10,000 fee, yeah, I let's see here.
Well, that's what you just layered on that. But what you just said is that's 10,000 total, or that's 1,000 plants total. How you choose to stagger its stages of growth is completely on you. So if you need to be able to have a third of that out at a time, you have to stagger that, or a quarter, let's say, right? So that means 250 plants are getting to the flowering stage.
Right.
Such a true.
Um, the way that I've known people when they talk about cannabis growing in general is vegetative and flowering, but it doesn't matter. Like the thing is also on top of it, like when you do grow, you basically get an infinite amount of extra plants. Like how many times you can clip a plant is different, but like if you got 1,000 plants, you can get another 1,000 extra plants with just clippings. But whether or not they're viable going forward is probably a risk that they probably don't want to take. I'm guessing because it's not every single clipping is going to live.
Right? You can get into some serious gray area because if you're a facility that uses cloning, I mean, simply trimming. If you do it in a like an organized enough way, could you count that as you're trying to attempt more than 1,000?
And yeah, and actually that's another number that we didn't actually add in. The cost of trimming, producing, like basically drying, curing, all of that stuff. The testing. I mean, I don't know how much money a grow operation makes. I mean, what it's been a couple years, like Pure Dakota or any of those things. Um, maybe their numbers are public. I don't know. No, they're probably a private. I don't think they're required to. I don't know, but like yeah, and on top of that, you got other fees. You got your insurance. You've got which I'm sure that insurance is very expensive. Like I can almost guarantee the insurance is very expensive. It's probably like half of your income. Like then you got people, like you got the rent plus you got the people that basically take care of the plants. Like it's not a one man operation. 1,000 plants is a lot of plants. So like what I
Actually, I wouldn't say it's even really a lot compared to some of the other grows that I've seen, and that's mostly supply from my house.
yeah. And the thing is like if you have set up a system where these businesses are almost forced to pay $10,000 to either it's the business gets the flack for not producing enough, the dispensary gets the flack for not receiving enough, and the fucked up this is where I find it fucked up. The last people that everybody gets mad at is the government who set up all these plans and all these rules. Like, I'm not saying that there should be no rules, but I'm
But
saying,
make it more difficult and expensive than it needs to.
and obviously it's not working. So maybe you should look into fixing it because that would pretty much be the point of government is to serve the people. Like, I get I mean, that would be like an omnipotent government. It's basically one that like only does like there's a lot of different conversations about government and like how some of them are how some agencies are more for the big guy and some of them are for the people. But when it comes to a medicinal thing, I would hope that they're for the patients. I sure hope so. But like if you set these things out and it's not working, this isn't like a tested, tried and true method. Like, why not just be like, okay, well, obviously 1,000 plants is not enough, so let's up it to. I mean, we already have this $10,000, $500 or 500 more plants, so why don't we just find the exact amount that we would need to stay sufficient, and then if they want to go past that and they want to maybe take more market share from the other growing operation, then they can pay an extra $10,000 to take advantage of that. So you got like Let's say 1,000
Yeah,
isn't
so
working.
you could screw them by the balance to that.
Yeah. Like, okay, this is how much we need to keep the lights on, basically. So, like, think of the whole entire thing as a business. Like, okay, I need to have this much money coming in to make sure that I stay in business. I need to have 3,000 plants to stay in business, and I have two suppliers, so $1,500, 1,500 plants each. For instance, this is just rudimentary math again. Okay, so now we can move forward. Now we got a base. Okay. Now, if I want to have some sort of market, what's it called? Where like any kind of like businesses kind of out saying like, hey, I'm gonna sell for $10 a gram while you sell for 15. I'm probably gonna get more business. I'm blanking on words. I'm looking at everything in the world. So, like, what's it called when there's the word is what I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't know. So basically, I feel like find your base of how many plants is enough, and then try to figure out how to make extra money. Because you're just gonna piss everybody off by just asking for more money when it doesn't work. It's like buying a car and it doesn't work, and then the guy who sold you the car being like, "Well, I need another $10,000 for me to rebuild the engine." Essentially.
All right, so this is a
All right.
and
Apparently it was quick enough to the point that you dropped. No, I'm getting the beeps. Man. Alright, let's try this again. I'm gonna work on the technical problems. I promise. I promise I'm gonna work on these technical problems. Oh, there's a Skype logo and oh, there we go. You're super small though. It's alright, I'll figure it out. Hoi. There we go.
so okay, are we still good?
Yeah.
Okay. We just realized that we're running on time here, so we're gonna make this kind of quick. If anybody can come up with the actual THC content of what I'm about to tell you guys about, please let me know. I'm very curious about this because the sheriff's department is not releasing this. But the Kern County Sheriff's Office in California uh, seized and destroyed 10 million cannabis plants, or roughly 10 million, 459 acres, that value at approximately 1 billion in the black market. Now it says that it was cannabis being grown under the guise of being hemp, and some of it was tested, and that it tested, and I quote, well over the federal limit of 0.3 percent THC. Nobody is saying how much it was. So if anybody can figure it out, please let me know. But I just wanted to point out that this was this was ridiculous because more than likely it was just a hemp operation or whatever
Yeah.
strain that they used just happened to be a little bit barely over or whatever. That's my guess. But again, nobody's saying anything. They made such a deal of this that it became a joint operation between the Kern County Sheriff's Office, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the FBI.
Yeah, I didn't realize that part. I kind of skimmed over this story, but like, so what would be, so yeah, like what like you were saying, it was probably they were trying to grow hemp for CBD or for textiles and stuff like that, and they got the wrong strain. This is a risk on a lot of hemp businesses. That's another thing that I've realized is so basically from a friend of mine, she grows hemp. Um, so she can grow, and before she will harvest, she has to send in a sample. They will randomly test her throughout the year, probably like once or something like that, to test the content to make sure that she's not just growing it under the guise of cannabis. So where in this situation did they like 10 million plants? How far along were they? But to destroy 459 acres with no proof that all of those plants, like I know testing 459 acres of land is probably going to be a lot, but to not just randomly test more than one, you know what I mean? Because like some of them do have bad strains. Like you'll get a strain that has high THC content, but then some of them have like a chance of having higher THC content, but they don't get enough nutrients that they don't produce enough THC. So I'm wondering if they just
Yeah, having such a stringent THC limit, I mean, it makes the entire industry very dangerous.
yeah. And they said so tests show THC levels on these fields were much higher than the legal limit. The sheriff's office said THC is a psychoactive substance within cannabis. I am sure glad that they dropped that knowledge on us. Knowledge. Uh,
Like if you can't see anything in that cannabis, right, exactly what THC.
right. And the thing is like it's a pretty. That's a huge grow operation. 459 acres. That's, I mean, 10 million plants.
Yeah, if you open that one, it's
yeah. Imagine, like, this is just for shits and giggles. Imagine that being, like, all cannabis. That's what they claim.
right, like, yeah, like that's what that's what they're treating it like. So that's why I want to know what the THC content was, because it's like, were they actually growing like full blown, consumable cannabis, and just saying it was hemp, and then they got busted, or were they like, point one?
Point one over, yeah. I mean, I feel like the point three is there's a lot of strains that are pretty much like have an extremely high chance that they're just only point 0.3, like 99.9% that it's going to grow point 0.3. And sometimes you'll get, some strains that have mutated while they were like, because the way that you verify it and you can, like, first of all, it has to be the male. No, it's female.
No,
Male. Yeah, it's the male. So, first of all, you have to crossbreed, so it's one sex, and then on top of that, that sex can still produce over 0.3%. In that case, then you also have to prove that you have to basically crossbreed it so it doesn't have that. So I'm not 100% sure how you crossbreed cannabis, but like those seeds are very expensive at the end of the day because you gotta basically have what you said it was male, right? Did you verify it or yeah, some male. So you have to basically prove that that plant or that seed is going to only grow male, which is some crossbreeding shit. And then you also have to make sure that the this percentage is there. 10 million of those is probably very expensive. Like I don't if you can afford 10 million of any seed, why are you going to pick the more expensive one if you're going to just grow cannabis in California?
I just that's 10 million seeds. You're not gonna know. You're not gonna run the risk of 10 million seeds
Yeah,
trying to skate by growing pot out in the open.
right. Yeah, I mean like
That's
yeah. And you got I mean they're pretty late in life here. They're pretty big. At one point, Yeah, like I'm wondering if they did like a test for just one of them, and it was just like, oh, yeah, this one plant, 3%, no proof, everything's gone. Like, is that what happened? Because if that's the case, then something needs to change.
Well, and I'm curious about that. I'm curious about those agencies and that. But I do got one more thing before we wrap this
Okay.
up, and just because we talked about it on the first or second
Oh yeah.
episode, is an update on the man that was transporting hemp from Colorado to Minnesota. That was nailed in South Dakota. He has entered a not guilty plea, and personally, obviously, I'm not a legal expert, but I think South Dakota is going to try to press it a little bit, but overall, the Farm Bill protects his ability to be able to transport through the state under the legalized the use of production.
All right. Yeah.
So I just wanted to update that he said not guilty, and we'll see how that plays out, and we'll update as we go.
Yeah, federal guidelines say that while states and tribunal nations can make it illegal to produce hemp, they can't block the transportation of legal hemp, which is 0.3% or less of THC.
Yep.
So like he is obviously protected by a farm bill. It it's so stupid. Like why would you waste all of this time to charge him when there's obvious proof that you're not going to win?
Yeah, that's why I saw that point that update and it's like, why are you going to do this? What are you going to do?
You're going to
Just
prove a point?
transport people,
Yeah.
or just going to go ahead and be pains in the ass about this simply because we think we can. We can't, but we're going to try. We know we're going to fail, but we're still going to try.
Right.
There's no sense.
Yeah. Well, this was a super long episode. It's weird because the timer says an hour and 16 minutes, but it's 8:20. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it a little bit. It was probably choppy at the beginning, and I'm sorry. Um, I have a feeling that it wasn't my fault for the first time ever. That part, but I'm probably gonna contact Caster and be like, "Hey, can I get that recording? I know you normally don't do it, but I know that you do it." Um, so yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed the extended copy. We're gonna probably do a little bit more of the same kind of deal, like more of conversation stuff, because I do know that you guys like it a little bit more. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. Probably way less rant, and I'm sorry that the rant went for like way too long. It was just gonna be a little bit, and then I got heated. Um, so I gotta work on that. So other than that, thank you guys for watching. Again, ND for Freedom Cannabis Act, ndforfreedom.com/.org, whichever one you want to pick. So pick the .com or the .org, not /.org. But yeah, go to ndforfreedom.org and scroll down, and you can read more about us. The petition is also on the website as well, so you can read it in full, as well as the petition locator, so you can find your nearest petitioner if you'd like to sign. Other than that, the ND Cannabis Caucus Facebook group went public, and also the page that you're watching it. You can give us a message or a shout out, and we can help you if you need to find a petitioner or anything like that. Have any questions just in general about us, feel free to reach out. We will be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Other than that, um, thank you guys for watching. The two of you that stayed through the extremely long episode that I was not planning on having it be that long. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, you guys learned something or at least enjoyed the conversation. Other than that, thank you guys and have a great day or night. Bye.